Okay, sound should be working. Tessa, can you confirm? Okay, yeah, I did it on purpose. I was meant to have a different screen on, and it wasn't there. Let's get a multi-stream and say hello to everyone. Ooh, first of all, glasses. Are you guys excited about this topic?
I mean, I'm excited.
Yes, Chisara, I see you were speaking to your chat, so I was like,
No,
hope I
no,
was.
I was just saying hi to everybody. I just didn't think that you wanted to hear me say hi to everybody.
So yeah, so anyway guys, as you see we're really live. My name is Jejital and I'm here with KP and Reha for another week of fun and excitement, and today we're talking about one of the most interesting topics. I'm so glad we're talking about it. Octopuses. Octopuses. Yes, first fact I know, and I've learned, it's actually not octopi. It's not octopi.
No, it's definitely
Octopuses.
not octopi.
But yes, so guys, I hope, please, we've got some questions, but feel free to put in the chat. We're going to learn of why an octopus is one of the most interesting creatures in the world, but why you definitely don't want to be one if you ever wanted to be one. So, can I start off the questions, and it might be on the list, just so that we get the. It isn't later on like, oh, really? Is an octopus the same as a squid? It's one of the first questions that were popping up.
Oh, no. Although they are very closely
Mm.
related. So when you look at like the classification of them, they are both cephalopods. So that's kind of like cephalopod. I'm trying to remember what it means. I think it means like head foot or something ridiculous. But anyway, they all fall into like that's the class that they're all
Mm.
in. And then you get further down the list and you've got octopoda, which is where the octopus stand. So, and there's like so many different kinds of these animals too, guys.
Yes.
So, but so they are extremely closely related. But they are not the same thing. Squid and cuttlefish are a little bit different than octopus. But it's a good
And
question.
what would you say is like the main differences between a squiddy squid and an octopus? It's just
Well, I think squid spend quite a lot more time actually like swimming as opposed to
like just
octopus, which are
chilling.
doing a lot of like, yeah, well, that and like crawling and stuff like that. I was actually reading, and this is interesting as it pertains to that. So that I know this is probably like jumping ahead, but the octopus actually have three hearts, and the one
Yes.
heart that is in charge of pumping blood to like the extremities, to like the circulatory system,
Mm.
actually stops pumping when they are swimming, which is why they prefer to like crawl and they don't just like swim around, even though their swimming is a bit faster. So I thought that was really interesting when I was reading about that. Um, yeah, well, squids have beaks, but octopus have beaks too. Yeah, so they're
Yes.
I think the fact that they're doing a lot more swimming as a locomotion is part of it, and then that also means that even though squid and cuttlefish definitely do change color, I think that the octopus is really like sort of the master of
Oh
this,
yeah.
because they're doing a bit more color changing for like camouflage and for like saving their life, whereas squid and cuttlefish, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure they do it a little bit more um,
It's like a disco
to like
display. They're the ones that have, you
yeah,
see all the
yeah,
lines
yeah,
of color running up because they're angry or that, whereas the octopus can actually even change the
exactly.
texture of his skin. It's freaky. I don't know how the heck they do that. It's like, just imagine everyone, you sit down on a chair and you literally you start to look like the chair. Not just in its color, but you actually get little bumps in that. I mean, that's just amazing to me. So yeah. Yeah, I remember since
Yeah,
squids
so
are
they're
like
they're
the
all
flashlight. Like,
cephalopods. They're all cephalopods, but octopods are a little bit different. And I think that octopods evolved a little bit more recently than like the squid and the cuttlefish. So, um, but
yeah,
yeah,
I would
so
agree. Yeah, that makes a good point.
I'm sure we'll get into
Yeah, we'll get
some of
into it.
that.
Because, yeah, again, you don't want to be an octopus though. So, Greya, can you hit us with your first question?
Our first question is how many species of octopus are there?
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh, you guys, there are lots. There are many. There are many, many, many of them. I don't I don't know off the top of my head. Let's see.
It's like something like
Um
250 or something crazy like that, or more.
yeah.
It's not about
It's
that.
300.
300. Then I'm
300.
off by 50.
And
That was very close. That was very close. Yeah, 300
supposedly there's
different
also a lot that still haven't been discovered yet.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean,
Yeah,
well,
'cause
the
they go
ocean
so
in
deep.
and of itself is very yeah, very hard to explore all of it.
And there's so many like to get the. I think the one that's a meme, if anyone can, I'll put it up just now, is the spotted octopus. That's the one with the blue rings. That's like you see it in Japan everywhere. That's one of the coolest ones, but they're all so different. But yeah, 300, and there's so many different styles. I love it so much. How deep can an octopus actually swim?
Well, there's lots of different species, so it's going to depend very largely on the species, because some of them are like those intertidal ones that you see sometimes even just like walking across the land when the tide is low. So some of them are quite shallow living species, and then there are some that live all the way down on the ocean bottom. So yeah, I mean that's just going to be so dependent on the species. And then I think you have like I don't think this is exactly part of the octopus family, but there's that like vampire octopus thing that lives like in the deep ocean. I don't know if you guys have seen this. Maybe I can find a
Ooh.
maybe I can find a picture and put you guys over here. But vampire squid is what it's called. So
Oh, it's a
technically
vampire
not
squid.
quite.
Yes. Oh god,
a
they look so
type of that.
freaky. They're like got this like
Yeah.
umbrella arms or appendages.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's the weirdest creature. But I have been blessed by the way that I have seen so many octopus where I actually used to go up the coast. They were always going across the rocks. I just remember for the first time seeing it and being like, Dad, what in goodness names is that? At least he
Yeah.
didn't, you just said stay away from it, but he was like, no, they this, and I was like, wow, I was so fat. I literally thought it was a spider that swam. But yeah, they're amazing little creatures. As you said, they crawl along the rock, the way they move, they're like...
Yeah,
each
so
arm.
I'm looking at the vampire squid right now.
Squid.
This thing is bizarre.
Yeah.
And again, this is
Oof.
not an actual octopus, but it is
It is fascinating to
closely
see.
related. Like, what is this thing doing?
Like, what is it even? You know what? Props on its dress code, though. It's like...
I know.
It's like, I'm trying to get one up here, guys, for everyone to see.
Yeah, so there are certain species that do live very, very deep. So yeah, the blue and the blue ringed octopus is one of the only that's like a really actual dangerous species, I believe. So
Yeah, and yet that's the one
so
that's
there's
a
just
meme.
like so much variety.
But as I think you've mentioned this before, if an animal is brightly colored like that, it's mostly not to be nice or be a clown. It's to say, stay away from me. It's like almost likely dangerous.
Sorry, we're experimenting with the cheers the cheers on my channel. Okay. Yeah, so honestly I don't know. We could probably look up like the deepest diving octopus or deepest octopus. Look at this. It knows what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Oh, the
that sounds
Dumbo
like-
octopus. Look at how cute it is.
It's the Dumbo octopus that's the deepest?
It is.
Oh my god.
It's like the most adorable octopus there
Oh
is.
my
Oh my god, it's in your window. It's called a Dumbo.
Dumbo octopus. Okay, this is the deepest living species of octopus. Oh my god, he looks like an elephant.
Okay, just so much chat. What you're seeing in front of you is not the Dumbo octopus yet, but I will put one up because it's so cute. How is this octopus not a meme everywhere? I'm a little octopus. I'm a little octopus. It's so cute.
Oh, it's adorable. It's adorable. How deep do you know, Reha? How deep
Yeah.
is down there? Look,
oh,
he's
shoot.
just chilling.
Hold him up and then.
Oh my god.
Dumbo octopus.
He looks like he'd be a good snuggler.
Oh.
Yes!
4,000 meters.
5,000 meters. Okay, so that is pretty deep.
4,000 meters.
5,000
meters.
Okay.
Wow. No, and for those asking, those aren't his arms. What that is those little flappy flaps. What that was is actually kind of like a modified like flipper almost. Like the squid have them on the side too. Like it's kind of like on the side of their mantle that helps them to like propel themselves. It's kind of like
Yes.
it doesn't really have like I guess we can't really like relate it to anything in humans because it's not really like it's just not any of those things. But basically it's just a means of locomotion.
Yeah, so it's actually like Dumbo, who uses his ears to fly. And I've got
Yeah,
such a
but
good
they're not.
picture.
But they're
that-
not his ears.
Yeah, it's the Dumbo octopus I pulled up as well. Even has a little trunk. It's so cute. It's so cute. God damn it. With little shrubby legs.
Which is interesting because usually those creatures that live in the deep sea are like
hideous.
horrifyingly like
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Like the big ass teeth and like the anglerfish. Oh, ooh. Yes, but this one's very cute. Is this
Yeah,
the
but
one
every
was...
octopus kind of has their thing because
is this
like
the-
Wilda was mentioning the blue octopus is actually the only species of octopus I believe that is considered deadly or potentially deadly to humans, even though all octopus are venomous. Did you know?
Oh, tell me more. Tell me more, please.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about it before, but like, so just a quick crash course on venomous versus poisonous versus,
Yes.
whatever. So, poisonous is things that you eat can be poisonous to you, whereas venomous is like animals that inject venom into you by biting, or a number of other things. Like even if you step on something, like a lionfish, I'm pretty sure that's considered venomous.
Yes.
So yeah, like the active injection versus like ingestion. So all octopus are venomous, and that helps them to kill the things that they're trying to eat. But only the blue octopus is considered dangerous to humans. So
Yes, and for the chat that just asks, no, you... Yes, and there's a lot of octopus you can eat, but that's not the question we want to learn today. Not the ones we can eat. And someone just mentioned that the character, the Dumbo octopus looks like a Pokemon character. Totally
It
true.
does, it
Totally
does.
true. Oh my gosh, but that's so cute. But there we go. Thank you for the. Okay. So that's the one thing I didn't know that all octopus were had venom. So I know the
Yeah.
ink is like basically like everyone just think, oh, it's just an ink, but it can if you get that shit in your eyes, it's an irritant. It's like
Yeah.
pepper spray. It's not just it's hiding itself. It's actually got a chemical in it.
right,
Like
they're just really weird creatures.
they really are. Someone just said it reminds me of a Japanese anime. If you know Japan, you know they're really into the octopus game. So that's the one thing. They're a big part of that culture there.
Not for the best reasons, though.
Oh,
I'll
no.
just Put that out there.
Hold on. There is a very bad reason they're there, but there's also a very, very good reason. Like half of the shops, my friend sent a whole bunch of photos earlier this week. I'm like, while you in Japan, can you send me all the photos that had octopuses on it? And he's like, dude, you should be asking me which photos don't have. Most of the stuff he sent, whether it was a play center, a restaurant, whether he went a taxi he caught, all had octopus. But yes, there is a bad side to it. And Ray, we know what you're talking about. There's a very bad
But
side
it's
to it.
it's kind of we're actually talking about it in my chat right now. It's kind of based in reality, sort of, without going too far into it.
Yeah.
Because male octopus, actually, it's how you can tell a male octopus apart from a female octopus. I believe it's the males that have one of their arms does not have suction cups on it, and so or not.
That's
not
the
the
arm.
very end of it.
Yes, that's the arm.
Not
that's...
the entire arm, but just the very end of it. And they use that for depositing their little sperm packet in with the female, and then she kind of like uses it as she will. It's like a really weird gift.
Yes.
And so there's like, there's some reasons why, and like my chat's calling it a sex arm right now. So the male octopuses have a sex arm. Yes.
It's like not all of it is there's a lot of different things we're going to learn about the arms today. But there are some octopus apparently and things like that which that separate them. Some of them actually break their things off, so to speak, and be like give it to the female octopus
Here,
and be like, here you
here,
go,
take this.
have fun with it. I'm going to go now. Apparently it grows back, so ill. But yes, the arm thing is also just like ill. And now you understand what Ray is talking about. There's a...
Anyway,
Moving on to the next question immediately,
what do
please.
you got? What do you got?
Our next question is: do the octopus live in any specific regions, or are they just everywhere?
Kind of octopus everywhere. I mean, they occupy some tropical areas. There's obviously like the giant Pacific octopus that's up here in the Pacific Northwest. They're just kind of like we've seen. They're in the deep sea. They're just kind of like everywhere. And with 300 species of them, you know, there's like an adaptation for everything. But yeah.
I know the ones you eat apparently are mostly from southern and I think northern western Africa. Those are the ones that are edible. I'm so glad Africa has contributed in its way in that way. Something like that. But there's a lot. And I've seen octopus. No. It's where we get our calamari, but is calamari squid or octopus? That's the question.
Calamari is typically squid. Calamari is the actual.
There we go. Yes.
It actually means squid. But I've eaten octopus before. I've had octopus. In Greece, especially like in the Mediterranean, it's a very prominent
I don't like
food source.
The texture.
You've had a very adventurous palate. All these things, like I've tried that, and I'm like, oh no, I need to live more.
I have a policy about trying things. I think it's important.
Yeah, you tried once, so
But,
you know. Yeah. But yeah. Oh yes, in the stream, everyone that's watching on this side, the octopus is on the top left-hand corner. It's just they put the camera in a really weird place, out towards the light. If no one's Octopi don't taste good. Yes, Motherphone, we just said that octopi is actually not the plural to octopus. It's octopuses. Yes, octopuses. And there's the other word that apparently you can say, but we're not going to say it here. Just if you've ever watched a James Bond movie, you understand. Moving on to the next question.
The next question is: do they have 9 brains?
Oh my gosh, I don't think so. I think they just have one brain.
They have
very interesting nervous systems though.
Yes, that's what's
the same. It's definitely not the same as like ours.
Apparently most of the neural things are in their arms.
Yes, because they're using like their arms I mean the way they can actually essentially taste through their little suction cups on their arm. So but I hadn't heard 9 brains. But I'm not like a huge octopus expert, although I wish I was, because they seem really, really interesting. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have heard anything different, but I do know that their brain to body mass ratio, which is in general, like we talked about how hard it is to measure intelligence, and it is, but like in general, a high brain to body mass ratio is going to mean that you are smarter or more capable of problem solving. And the octopus has the highest brain to body mass ratio of all invertebrates, which are just animals that don't have backbones. And it's even greater than some vertebrates. So
because they're like the ones that can squeeze through such a narrow object, like because they're so meshy.
That's exactly. And so basically anything that their beak can fit through, which is like pretty much the only hard part in an octopus, they can squeeze through that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's something like 2/3 of their neurons are in their arms, but it's not like their brain is in their arms. You know what I mean? It's just like where
I know their brain's just centralized though. It's like it's not.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but they do have just one brain, I think.
This says that they have one central brain used for overall control, and at the base of each arm is a group of nerve cells that can control each arm independently,
which
acting as smaller brains.
That's weird. So okay, so that makes sense. So
That's
that's
why
where
they have
that
9
9 brain thing
brains.
came from. So it's not like not not a brain in the sense
Yeah,
that you and I would think of a brain, but something that acts similar to that of a brain.
but
That's
their arms are
super interesting
independent.
though. Can you imagine just being like somebody else is controlling your arm like
Well, I sometimes think that happens. You know, when you accidentally knock something off the counter and you're like, what the hell, hand? Imagine having that like permanently. It's like, stop.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting fact if anyone's ever watched old Spider Man 2 and knows who Dr. Oct is, that whole thing where his arms control him is because of this. They brought a real life fact into a villain where his octopus
Okay.
arms control him. So
Yeah.
that's where it actually came from, and that's why.
So, but they do have a real brain, and then they
And then
have
have this.
other sort of structures that they can't really like. We don't really have anything, so it's like it's one of those things where it's hard to make correlations because we
Yeah.
don't personally have it, you know?
So we try and understand it the way that we would make sense of it. So that's why 9 brains, even though
Yeah,
it's not really a brain. But it's a
yeah,
lot to process 8 arms, so I can understand why. It's like.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
But yes.
Interesting.
Interesting. Moving on. Next question, please.
Our next question is, what do they eat?
Well, I think that they eat just about anything that they can get their little legs on. But I mean, they're very capable of catching fish and like even getting into things like clams or mussels.
Snails.
I've seen them eat crabs.
Yes.
Um,
I've seen one eat a small
so
fish. It grabbed a
okay,
guppy.
yeah.
Ugh. But it was on the ground. It's always like within access. They're not fussy, as you say.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that they just have to eat whatever they can, pretty much. So, so yeah, I mean, like, there's just anything that they can really get into, and their beaks and their arms are really strong, so they can really crack into just about anything. And they're very like these guys are like stealth predators too. So they can you know, they can hide and camouflage and then strike out and grab a fish and stuff like that. And these suction cups too are like absurdly strong, like insanely strong. You'd be surprised at how hard it is to get your arm away from an octopus who wants to hang on
Yes.
to you.
It's funny when I was and my this was actually removed from because every movie has that octopus beak, and I watched 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, and I know that's a squid, but still, I actually been at the beach where someone caught an octopus, and the thing wrapped around the top of his arm, and it's so a horrible story. They're trying to beat it against the rock because this thing would not let go. Every time they pull an arm off, the other one would wrap around it. I think it was like
Yeah.
a good 30 minutes that I was just watching this dude trying to fight an octopus. And that's when I learned that they had blue blood. But it was like, yeah, you get an octopus wrapped around you. It's like, cuddles for life.
Yeah. Which is fine if it's the Dumbo octopus and he's really
Yes. Oh,
cute,
you can
but
cuddle all you want. But yes, are there any octopus that are domesticated that people can keep as pets? Always going to cover this question.
yeah, I mean, obviously there are domesticated is not the right word. So,
Yeah.
domesticated is a term for like animals that we have changed through evolution
Yeah,
and the
they're
process
aware of
of
humans.
yeah, of and it's a process by which they rely on humans for their survival. Like, you know, like a normal like cow can't really survive on its own
Yes.
out in the wild. So, but it is possible to have them. I mean, lots of facilities do have them. And then I do know that you can have them as pets in some places, but it's like this is the type of like these are the type these pet owners are like they're like aquarists in real life, you know,
Yes.
like these guys are professionals. Like this is not just like your run of the mill pet that
Yeah.
just anybody should have. I would never want to own one. I mean, you are taking on an incredible responsibility. Plus, talk about like an animal that's like bent on destruction. Like, you know,
Yeah.
they can get out. They can, you know, like you know,
Yes.
you're like, this thing is probably a little smarter than you are. Like, it's not, you know,
Yes.
not necessarily a good pet to have. But some people do, and some people do a really, really good job of it. Kept in the proper situation, I imagine that it's a really rewarding pet to have, an animal to have. But yeah, yeah, we're talking enormous tanks that are going to cost enormous amounts of money. And the like keeping these animals in the proper way is just not for everyone.
Yeah. And
In
as
fact, not for almost anyone really at all.
and as you said, you're with a creature that is innately intelligent enough to want to escape and destroy. It's
Yeah, well, you're also gonna have to be providing it with lots of things, you know, like enrichment and stuff like that, and just being a really like it's a full-time job to be the owner of an octopus. Plus, I think it's just insanely expensive.
yeah,
Like
I'm quite
you
sure.
can't just
Yeah.
like go drop $20 at the PetSmart and pick up an octopus. Like that type of stuff doesn't exist. Um, so yeah. I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
In
It,
fact, I
it
would strongly advise against it.
it falls into almost that same thing as an exotic animal, where it's a lot of high maintenance and a lot of work. But
Yeah.
this is why this question always pops up, because I know someone's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm an octopus pet," and it's like, well, there you heard it from KP, the professional. New.
Well, I think one of the bigger deterrents that's like definitely going to deter some people is if you actually looked into what it would take to get an octopus, you'd be like, oh, never mind, I don't have a spare $50,000. I think maybe I'll just pass.
So, and make sure that your aquarium has the right equipment and locks. But yeah, sorry. One of the audience asked, and this is one thing that I kind of know, is which is the largest octopus recorded. Well, one of the largest octopuses is Pacific octopus, and I've put a photo on how big these creatures can get, but also camera angles too. They're not small. They're definitely not small.
So, I mean, there's a reason that they're called the giant Pacific octopus,
Yeah,
right?
it's like they're quite like you'd walk up to one and be like, "Ho!" Like if that thing gets around you, it's wrapping around your entire waist.
Yeah, so the giant Pacific octopus gets up to 9 meters wide,
Whoa.
and from the tip of one arm to the tip of another and is about 44 pounds. I
9
know they
meters.
get
9
really-
meters and 44 pounds of octopus.
Just think the
That sounds
tallest human
terrifying.
is like close to what, 2? If he's like really tall in the
They
Guinness Book of
can-
Records.
They can very much probably take a small human.
Yeah. They got enough arms for it. And as KP
yeah, I
said,
mean,
they
well,
will
you-
not let go.
Yeah, well, you can see videos of divers encountering them, and they wrap themselves around their regulator and their mask, and like that is
Yes.
a life endangering situation for sure.
And I would wonder how the size of the beak of that thing. That is the story. That is the story of horror movies. And it is that Japanese thing that Ray was talking about, but not the good kind. That is like a really... You don't want to mingle with that octopus.
For once, I am not the instigator of these of this
Rhea
horrible
was.
discussion that's like happening.
And then it's in my mind, I'm like...
I'm sorry.
And I mean...
I do live with my own version of a taco
True.
who was very passionate about today's subject.
It's like...
This also
it's
says
not good.
that they have 2,140 to 2,240 suction cups per arm.
Oh, good luck letting go of
Wow.
that. Like,
Yeah, well, and the suction power is like insane on these things. They are so
Yes.
strong. So, yeah.
to the
that's
point that
a
actually live
situation.
rings on your arms. But that was a baby octopus. Like, they actually live little rings. Do octopus have little... is it squid or octopus that have little claws in their suction cups?
Oh, somebody was asking about this in my chat too.
Hmm.
I don't know if I know like if you zoom in on their little suction cups, it's definitely very weird. Let's see. Let's see
Let's.
if we can have a zoom in. Um,
Oof.
so
Okay.
they definitely they don't really seem like they have hooks, but their structure of them is very, very interesting. Like
Yeah.
they're totally weird.
I think it's the squiddy that is the one with the. Unless I'm just been watching too many freaking squid horror movies, but no, they're just little. I know they definitely leave a little circle because they really like.
Well, yeah, that's very, very strong suction. Yeah. Yeah. You can count them when they're on your mask. Yeah, exactly. While you're down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. They're like they're such a really
Oh yes, the
sort
squid.
of bizarre animal.
They really definitely are.
Like
Yeah.
to the point where, but what's interesting about it is like people also strongly relate to these guys too, even though they are so like out of this world. Because they do like there's something about an octopus's eyes that just like it feels intelligent, like it's looking at you,
Like
it's thinking
it's
about you,
looking.
it's solving
Yes.
something.
So true.
So it's a very interesting conundrum because normally humans are very drawn to things that are similar to us, and there's like very few things similar about the octopus. But there's still that like
Like even the way their eyes
sort of
move and close, it's like
yeah,
yeah.
very, very interesting. Anyway, what else do we got?
Um, well, one side note for the giant Pacific octopus, the females can lay 18,000 to 74,000 eggs.
I was about to
Wow.
say 18,000 compared to an octopus is
And
small.
and the mothers will actually protect their eggs, especially in the I don't know if
Yes.
this is a true life cycle for all octopus, but I'm pretty sure that it is. But um, for the giant Pacific octopus and a number of other octopus species, the
Mm.
once the female lays her eggs, that's basically the end of the life.
Because they actually stay
And
with the eggs and starve themselves.
yeah, they do, and they
Yes.
start to deteriorate, and once the eggs hatch, the mothers essentially die. Um, so their life cycle can be pretty short. Like even for the giant Pacific octopus, which you said is like 9 meters wide and like 45 pounds, that animal typically only lives 2 years.
Which is that's
Yeah.
why I was saying they're bad luck. But apparently, and people can correct me, but also the male octopus, once he's mated and deposited his little thing, a month later he also dies. So it's like you don't want to be an octopus and have a love life because you will not make it. It's
Yeah, well, yeah. Being a single octopus might be
yeah,
alright,
it's
but
like
yeah,
you want to be that octopus that lives in those basements and probably still hangs out with his mom and does all those things. The weird fact I did know about, which was scary, which we learned in the aquarium, is that when they lay like those 56,000 eggs, which is like the average, only the majority of survival rate is like one. Out of all those 56,000 eggs that get laid, it says the average of a survival rate of those babies surviving is 1 in 56,000. So one of those babies actually gets to make it into adulthood, which is a terrible story. That's a lot of.
yeah. I mean, but again, it's just that's just the difference between like again that's like our we want to feel like it's so sad
Yeah.
because that would be really sad if humans were that way, but it's just the way that they roll, man. Like and so yeah, it's definitely a very very bizarre life cycle,
Mm.
but that's what happens when animals if animals have like 30,000 offspring, you probably know that the survival rate is
It's
really
very
really
low.
low, like
And the fact they die for one egg, if they ever found out, they'd be like, what? I starved myself for one child to survive? Good God, why? It's actually wow. That's why I was saying at the beginning you never want to be an octopus because it's short lifespan for a fascinating creature
yeah.
that dies after basically reproducing.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Oof.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just like it's a totally bizarre life cycle. I mean, like evolution is nuts. The way that
It is. It's
the way that it changes these animals and makes them into something that's like completely perfectly adapted for their environment is just like fascinating.
and it's
I love it. I love
it's
evolution.
it's fascinating how a creature with this sort of evolution cycle has actually survived and is one of the oldest creatures in the genus, like millions of years. They actually survived. The fact they die after mating, and that's it. They don't get a chance to contribute more in the future, and yet they've survived evolution. It's actually quite an amazing thing.
Have you guys all seen My Octopus Teacher?
You have an
No.
octopus
I
teacher?
ha- No, it's a movie.
Oh, sorry.
You dingus.
Well, I've never heard of that. I'm like, my octopus teacher. I'm like, you have an
Also a
octopus
dingus
teacher?
on live stream.
It's okay.
It's a very very good movie. It's a little anthropomorphic, but I love it. It's a movie about a man who is essentially like a wildlife videographer, but he kind of gave it up for a variety of different reasons, and then he was just out in the ocean. He goes swimming every day. He does like some free diving every day and some swimming, and he came across an octopus, and he started filming again and documenting her life, and basically
Aw.
befriended this octopus. And she kind of like brought him back from he was in like a really rough place in his life, and goes through the whole life cycle of this octopus, and it's amazing and phenomenal. The footage is incredible, and then of course the story is like heartbreaking but beautiful,
Of
and
course.
just anyway, highly recommend My Octopus
And it's on
Teacher.
Netflix, so maybe folks we will
It is.
we will do one documentary one day on stream.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good idea.
But of course, as you mentioned, we all know it's going to be tragic. We've just discussed their lifespan. It is terrible. It is terrible.
Yeah.
But everyone's laughing at me now. Yes, I'm a dingus. Okay, it's okay. I made a stupid comment like, "Oh, you're the teacher." Someone was, oh, okay,
Yeah,
that's
my octopus teacher.
yeah. I'm like, did you what? I was so confused.
Yes,
I was
I
like,
learned
what?
almost everything I know from an octopus.
No, I mean like maybe you had a teacher that liked to be an octopus or had an octopus name. I was like, what?
Or just like an octopus onesie.
Yeah, I didn't actually think he was an octopus, people. Let's calm down. That wasn't what I thought. But that's a random question. Didn't Joey have an octopus toy? Was that an octopus or a jelly? I think it was supposed to be an octopus.
I don't know.
Yeah, the little
It's
pink
just
toy.
It's a baby toy. The little pink one.
Yes, and
I don't
that
know.
grew so popular.
Because Joey got scared of it.
Yes. Oh. Okay, next question.
The next question is, how do they regrow their limbs when they lose them?
Well, I mean, how is probably that's a really crazy question. I don't know. I mean, they're totally different animals. It's the same way that like some lizards can regrow their tails and stuff like that. It's just like they are just built differently than we are, and they can regrow their arms. Now, I think there's a limit to it. Like, I'm pretty sure you can't just like continually chop off the arms of an octopus and have it regrow like infinite arms, but like how is such like a weird question, because I don't like
Yeah, it's
well,
like that's
I
a
don't
bit
know
detailed.
I don't know the process, but they have the capability of regenerating their limbs. But yeah, it's not it's certainly not all of them. I mean, it's not like they could regrow like their eyes or anything like that.
Yeah.
So some of it depends on the complexity of the structure. Look at this guy is getting pulled in by this octopus. This is terrifying. So yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that question necessarily, because I don't know how they do it. It's
How
not
is
like,
that important is that they do? Yeah.
it's not like you can like think about it hard enough and you too can regrow your arm, but
But I'm quite sure it's just like our healing process, but a lot more complicated. Like the way we're able to regrow fingernails and heal, but it's just, I mean, our liver regrows. Is it a liver? Yes, that thing regrows, but How?
But then again, not
Is it
all
bit-
of it,
yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah, not all of
you,
it.
you
It's not
can't
the same.
lose like I can't remember, but you can't like lose like 99% of your liver
And then
and
just grow
regrow
back,
it.
like-
Yeah, so it's
Well, we'll
yeah,
probably
I mean,
die
like,
before it ever regrew anyway, because I mean it's such an important part. But that's also the one thing that's very important is that how much energy even a lizard and octopus has to go through and resources to regrow a limb. So it's not a smooth
yeah.
process. I mean, I know lizards like they have to have so much calcium, and a lot of them actually end up with a weird disease because they've taken so much resources to actually grow that tail back. And the exact same with an octopus. It's not like fun times. Don't worry, I'll grow it back. But how? Yeah.
Right.
that's-
Anyway, there's your non-answer to the
Yeah.
question that you
It's
were
just we know it happens.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I tried researching it. The furthest I got was reading something that said that they don't specifically regrow, but they regenerate, similar to lizards, but they do it at a much higher
Like Foster.
rate, I guess, than lizards do, and it comes back a lot more functional than lizards are able to regrow their tails.
Yay,
Okay.
Octopus. They needed a win for something. Gosh. Next question.
Our next question is the Nautilus really an octopus?
Oh, wow.
The Nautilus is closely related to Octopus, but it is not the same. Again, so like if you're looking at the family tree of an octopus, or of the family octopus. So it is in the cephalopods, which we talked about as also where like the squid and the cuttlefish are. So like that's at like the top of the tree. We've got cephalopods, and then down from there, we've got it goes into like the nautilus category, which are kind of like their own thing. And then everything else under the next branch branches out into squid and octopus and those types of creatures. So it is a cephalopod, but it is not. So they're very closely related, but it is not the same thing.
And those are
That
one
makes
of the most like prehistoric looking creatures out of all of the
For
cephalopods.
sure. I mean, they're like millions of years old, like hundreds of millions of years old. So yeah, and they're one of the oldest species in the cephalopod sort of category, and they're also crazy cool. But that's
Yeah,
just a
they're like
side
weird
note.
creatures. Again, evolution just as weird as they are, they just managed to survive in such weird states. But there we go. I just showed the audience the Nautilus, and it has a cool name. There's something nice about the Nautilus name. But well, my guess we call. Oh, sorry, I thought I got a
Reha, there's a
question.
bot in my chat.
Attack
Get him,
Reha!
Reha.
Reha, the host is back. No, oh, okay. I see what my audience is like. No, it's fine. Everyone can still call the toy jelly. Are we still having that conversation? You fully can call the toy jelly. I thought there was a question. If a tentacle is lost, isn't 7 enough? Well, if you've grown with 8 tentacles, I'm sure you want to keep 8 tentacles. It's never nice to lose something. Next question.
Can't really. You can't trust somebody whose name is only numbers. I'm sorry.
I've been
sorry.
giving you guys time
Yeah.
since you
Sorry
told
if it was
me
a
to like.
sorry if it was a real person. I can't.
Yeah, like, really? Why would you call yourself 00352?
I just can't. I don't know. Even if you were a real person, you were obviously a little weird.
Yo, change your username. Don't be all numbers.
You know, it's just
He's a walking barcode.
yeah. And tell me if you're gonna submit an unban request, tell me why your name is that. And if there's a good reason for it, maybe.
Like it was the year of my birth, and it's like some weird thing like
No.
that. No, but next question.
Okay, sorry. The next question was, how do octopus detect sounds?
Oh, Oh, I imagine that they probably don't. I imagine it's probably more of like a vibration. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't, I don't actually, I don't know 100%, as far as, you know, if they, I know they don't have ears per se, so I would guess that it's far more of like a vibration detection, and it's probably detected through their arms again, because there's, you know, that's where like all of their sensitivity and everything is. They do have very good eyesight, from what I understand, and even in some, you know, they have varying degrees of color vision as well. So. So yeah, but I haven't really heard anything about their ears, so my guess would definitely be you're looking at more of like a vibration type of sense.
I know
I
it
don't know if
was
anybody
some.
has any other information.
It was some sort of sack, and it had a weird strato thing like that. So it's like this weird sack that has like little sensitive hairs that detect frequencies. So it's not like hearing in the
So yeah.
capacity we hear. I'm trying to Google
Yeah,
it
so
now.
that's like vibrations.
How do octopus hear sound? Stratocyst. Ew, why did you call it a cyst? But there we go. It's a stratocyst. So it has a like the sack-like weird thing on them that can detect frequencies. So it's not like an actual ear.
Right. I mean, all of these animals, like we as humans, we want to like sort of draw parallels to senses that we have, but they're just not the same. Um, so
Yeah.
so yeah.
And as you said before, a lot of it's not necessary that to have these things that humans have. They might not need ears, especially that they're underwater. A stratocyst. There we go. Word of the day, everyone. Fascinating creatures. They have a sac as a hearing aid. Next question.
Here.
The next question is, what were the octopus species that can be found in the Middle East?
Oh gosh,
Oh wow.
I don't know.
That's.
You know who does know though? The Google. The Google
I thought we
knows.
were going to say taco. Taco.
Taco probably knows, and I will still dismiss his information.
Wow.
Taco
I
has
do it
come out
because
with-
I love him.
He's come out with some actual good information often, I would say.
While we do the Middle East, someone also asks, are there any freshwater octopus that exist?
Oh, that's a really good question, and I don't know about. I'm gonna guess no, but I don't know.
I like the way you drag that out. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, this is like the common octopus is found like just about everywhere. It looks like the Mediterranean, but I don't really see specifically on like the Middle East area. Let's look up freshwater octopus.
Oh, Northern America has a freshwater octopus.
Does
North
it
America.
really?
Yeah.
Because this looks like
What?
made believe. Like this looks like a
Huh?
what is this image?
No.
Okay. Well, this is a clearly photoshopped image, so this does not lend itself to the credence of this, but let's further investigate.
Did you Google
The
something
literal
that should?
octopus- No, it's just that I googled freshwater octopus. The first image that comes up is a clearly photoshopped image of an octopus in like a stream, like catching trout. Like it's not.
Like someone is trying to put the Mickey
this
in.
would probably tie into the question that was in chat earlier about if they can breathe out of water.
Oh, I've
They
seen them
can.
walk on land, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming
So-
they can.
They definitely can walk out of water and be out of water for periods of time. They do have gills though, and so they do breathe water. So it's really just a matter of like how long they can hold their breath. So they are capable of existing outside of the water, but I don't know that there is such a thing as a freshwater octopus.
Can octopus live in fresh water? Fun theorized evolution, blah blah blah. And there's one that says up in North America. Multiple things are saying the freshwater octopus. Again, another one occasionally found in North America, rivers of North America. There's another one.
No, but whenever you look at this, it's all this is all made believe. This is all made up. This is like
What
some
are you
cryptids.
finding?
Like some people made this up.
I'm trying to
don't know,
find the
I mean,
one where has your like I'm
Look
clicking
at
on
this.
every single link until is a myth. Here's a
The
go.
very first link
Yes.
under freshwater octopus, that's made up. It's freshwater octopus. It's something wiki fandom.
I
Like, this
found
is
your photo.
This is made up. This is
Okay,
not a real thing.
so apparently, allegedly, there it is.
Yes, my chat says
Allegedly.
the freshwater octopus are the favored prey of the Sasquatch. Little known
Yeah,
fact.
so-
I'm calling bullshit. There's no such thing as a freshwater octopus.
Yeah, allegedly. When you use the word allegedly, but I finally found your link, the one with the trout. That
It's
is
not a
so
real
bad.
thing.
Oh, that
It
is
is
so
not
bad.
A real thing.
Oh, I see what the story is now. They said there was a sighting in 1933, and it's been
No,
a common
there
thing.
wasn't.
I'm like, really? That's not a sighting. That's like I spotted a Sasquatch.
is
I
like,
spotted Bigfoots.
This is like
Yeah.
the latest episode from the History Channel.
A
on,
3-foot octopus too.
You know, my father was an octopus,
Yes.
like kind of a show or something like that.
I think it's safe to say no because I mean, sightings in 1993 of a 3-foot long. Oh, come on.
No. Anyway, this is not science. This is made
No.
up. There's no such thing as a freshwater octopus.
No, I just
Sorry,
love
not
that I
sorry.
found your photo. By the way, I had to click through a couple of links, and I was like, "There's the one with the trout." Wow. Okay, there we go. So no, unless
It's
you
like the house hippo, the
Yes.
Canadian house hippo.
if you lived in 1993 and you were with that dude and you saw something apparently that was 3 foot long.
No.
I think the
If you
freshwater
were doing
octopus.
mushrooms in the woods, then your scientific sightings
Yes.
are limited.
He's very good neighbors with Bigfoot, so they definitely live together.
I'm actually wondering if they can go into brackish water.
Oof.
I mean, probably for a little while, but it's an osmosis issue. Like, here's the problem with these guys is it's not like animals who have like a really like us, like who have a very thick skin that is like not like they. If you put an octopus into fresh water, it's like going to change the chemistry of like their bodies because they can't like maintain their it's like frogs too, like you know, frogs like basically their skin is like so, I guess permeable is maybe the word for it, but like yeah, they can't do these types of things because of osmosis and the way that salt travels across like the cell membranes. I don't know, you know, something scientific something. There's no freshwater octopus.
Yes. Oh,
I did see that octopus are very chemically sensitive, so a lot of like imbalance in chemicals can actually kill them.
Yeah.
But we've spoken
Yeah.
about this before.
What I said, osmosis.
Yes.
know. Chemicals, good, osmosis. What? Anyway.
But
That's
yeah,
what we know about
we've spoken how I think before how bad chemicals are to put in the ocean for that exact reason, that so many animals are sensitive to it. But shame, poor octopus. They really got a bad hand with the mating thing. And now people are talking about house hippos. That went a whole other direction.
Yeah.
Questions of living creatures and so on. Yes, we've already established there's no such thing as a freshwater octopus, considering that its only sighting was in 1933. A sighting, inverted commas, like Bigfoot
Wait,
sighting.
Let's stop
Bigfoot.
talking about the animal that doesn't exist.
Yes. The photo was probably blurry, like they all are. I saw the screech and the photo's blurry. Moving on. What other questions do we have?
Actually, this is our last question, and this is one that somebody wanted to know your opinion of these so-called experiments people were performing with octopus.
Did you have like
let
a
me-
specific link?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
I don't know. Let's find out. Welcome to Octolab. Why, thank you. Join us on our quest to learn more about octopus. Our goal is to observe and learn more about this fascinating creature, and we believe that together we can accomplish a lot more. Fill out the request form, and we'll get to work setting up your experiment.
What?
Okay.
Oh, so they actually like give it puzzles and stuff, and you can request.
I see.
Oh wow. Okay.
Okay. I mean, like intrinsically,
So it's not
I
actually like
don't-
physical.
I don't have a problem with that necessarily. The only thing that I would wonder about is just like what's like what are where are these animals from? And what's their like normal standard of care. I mean, this type of like these aren't experiments as in like let's see how hot we can keep their water, you know, like
Yes.
something that you would be like they're much more like let's see if they can recognize a crab versus a shark kind of a thing. So yeah, it's not like they're not like battling them. It's not like the last octopus standing sort of a thing.
Yes.
So I don't inherently have a problem with these experiments, but I need to know like the first rule of Octopus Fight Club is that we don't talk about Octopus Fight Club. So that becomes a problem. But like and I don't know how to find this information, but maybe we can look into it. I was just interested in learning a little bit more about like where these animals come from and like how they are like cared for, like just on a regular basis. Because these types of experiments are really thought-provoking for an octopus, like really enriching. Like all of
Like
this stuff is
stimulation,
like basically
yeah.
just providing enrichment for the
On that page.
huh?
Yeah, on that
Oh my gosh, it does say, is there any freshwater octopus? Oh my god, please.
No, we've crossed this bridge.
Please.
Please.
Thanks for the sub, Mohammed. Yeah, so that's interesting. I'd have to do a little bit more research. I like just on the surface, I don't have a problem with any of these experiments. Like these are all very like here, give an octopus a phone and see what it does. It looks like
Yes.
fun. Like it's not really like there's nothing that looks like it's at all harmful to the animal. But yeah, I'd just be interested to know where these guys are from and where they get their octopus and those types of things. So I don't know. So maybe that's something that we can look a little bit more into.
Yeah, because does this
but,
octopus stay
yeah.
in that tank? Is it big enough? Because it looks like it's a tiled tank and it looks small. But I don't know. But oh my god, that's the article I was just on. I had no idea we were going to be on Octolab again about the freshwater
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, this is very interesting.
Yeah. So
Yeah, where did they
anyway.
get it from?
So, I mean, I know that that's not fully answering the question, but we'll have to look a little bit more into that.
Because
For sure.
also, is it the fact that they're doing it for entertainment specifically, or is it also like a little bit of education?
I mean, I think that the whole idea is to learn more about
Absolutely.
octopus. And like it's a kind of an interesting idea, you know, like a great way of engaging people while online.
Yes.
You know, it'd kind of be the same as if I set up a site like this and I was like, you decide what you know, what enrichment we give the otters.
Yes.
And then I submit and then I put up a video of that actually happening is kind of the way that I feel like that is. A little bit of that depends on like where you get the animals. Like, are these animals being like captured and collected?
Yeah.
Because a lot of facilities too will, even if they house octopus, like the giant Pacific octopus, they only house them until they're ready to breed, because there's a very limited window of when they're actually ready to breed, and then they release them back out into the ocean to go do their thing. So I think that there's a lot of there's a lot of questions to be asked, but I don't have a problem necessarily with the experiments. I don't know if that sort of answers the question.
As I said, it's actually pretty nice that they have a concept where you can actually have your experiment, or does an octopus do this with that, and actually see it live. That's
yeah, I don't know if it's like,
very
it's not
interesting.
necessarily
Or live,
scientific.
yeah.
But what it is like engaging. Yeah, and it's just like a really cool idea for people to be able to participate in something, and then maybe that sparks a love of an animal that's gonna inspire them to care about them, and to spend some time protecting them. So yeah, I mean, outwardly I don't have too much of a problem with that.
Yeah, there's actually, I'll go through it, but there's actually quite a bit of information on their About Us page if anyone's interested, where it's actually talking about how they actually, what they allow even to train. They don't conduct stress related experiments and things like that. So please take note the word tank, not aquarium. Yeah, so there's a lot of information, but we'll do some research. I'll post a link on my side as well, so so you can make your own decisions.
Like, I'm interested to see if that's like, if they have like an experiment tank where all the experiments happen, which I would assume would be the case, because you would want it to be like a different type of area, and then they have like an area where they actually live, is what my guess would be.
Oh, right there, they say they only spend time in the small aquariums for observation and filming purposes during the experiment. They spend the rest of their time in the much larger tanks, which have been conditioned to satisfy even the pickiest of octopuses in terms of space and room. So there we go. So that's a good sign.
That sounds pretty good. And then so my last question would be, where are you getting these animals?
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it seems like kind of a cool idea, kind of a really interesting thing.
But yeah, that's something that we will leave you guys to also research, and I will post the link again on my side as well, and I'm quite sure KP will post it on her side, so you guys can take a read and a look at this amazing little octolab.tv. I'm actually curious. You see, but this is it. Now I'm curious about this as well. I'm like, I want to watch what he does with the telephone and the frog. Oh, what a fascinating topic. This is one of the most interesting creatures, and thank you so much for everyone, and Rhea for the research, and hopefully Tucker will be like, you watch this afterwards and be like, I would have also said this, I had so much information.
Yeah, I'll have to document what his reaction is to the VOD later.
He's gonna know more than we are. I could almost guarantee it.
He's gonna be pacing up and down through the fresh water octopus thing, like, that doesn't exist. That doesn't exist.
Yeah, so before we actually end though, like, I know we're saying taco. I don't know if everyone knows, but taco is octopus in Japanese.
Yeah.
So
and in Hawaiian, octopus is ohe'e.
Well,
Cool.
a lot of you that will if Ray ever streams again, you'll notice that immediately with her emojis. They just little crying, and also little crying octopuses in that. But it's a really fascinating subject. But guys, as mentioned, this has been awesome. Thank you for all your weird and fascinating questions. As we've seen, a very fascinating creature, but you absolutely wouldn't want to be one due to their unfortunate lifespan and mating habits.
Why? You would be just fine if you were
if I was an octopus.
It's different. You're not an octopus. You don't get to
I know.
tell octopus that their lives are not worth living.
But I mean,
JJ.
I'm saying if a human had a choice to be an animal, that wouldn't be the one I picked. If I was born one, I'd probably be like, nah, this is cool. But it's like, if I had to turn into an animal, that wouldn't be. They are fascinating on their own as they are, and they're busy chilling on my screen as well. They're very, very cute. But there we go. So yes, please don't keep octopus as pets. Don't touch them if you see them around. And learn more about them. They're very, very amazing creatures.
The theme of all of our shows: don't touch them.
Just don't touch them.
Don't touch.
I just
Touch.
learned that all of them are venomous. I'm like, okay, well, that's just great. I've held one in my hand at the aquarium. I'm like, now I'm not going to do that anymore. I did not know this. But thank you.
They're not they're not venomous to you unless it's like the blue octopus. But I do have a friend who got bit by an octopus on a
Really?
boat.
Ouch!
Yeah,
With
and
the
it
beak.
was messed up.
Whoa.
Yes, it was very, 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 very bad. So yeah, again, just don't touch them.
Yeah, just don't touch them. They got a parrot beak, for goodness sakes. Oh, gosh. But thank you, everyone. And are you going to be
Alright.
streaming after this, KP? You
Yeah,
said you
I'm
were
gonna
going to
stream
do
for a
things.
little while. I have a situation that's gonna happen here in a little bit. So I'll be talking a little bit about that on stream. But yeah, I'm going to stream for a little while longer.
Well, everyone, yeah, go join. I always like, I'm going to raid, but I'm like, everyone goes and jumps on anyway. So, like, there you
Yeah.
go. Just go there
Be here
anyway,
anyway.
folks.
Good.
Just jump across. And it's been fun.
It's actually, I think it's better. It's better than a raid because I think it counts as a real view, and if you raid, it doesn't
Yes.
count as like something.
Or
Twitch,
something.
Twitch, something.
Yeah, Twitch
Twitchity,
something. Twitch, rads, raids, bots,
Yeah.
everything. Not so bad for male octopus. No, remember, they die in a month's
Alright.
time. I was just answering a
Oh my
question
God.
here. But anyway, thanks a lot, guy. Please
Alright.
go observe the links, and we